The movie starts off by showing us the meteor that wipes out the dinosaur age, saying it can happen again. 65 million years later, we see a space team working on a satellite while communicating with NASA. All of a sudden, a small meteor shower passes by, destroying the shuttle and everything in its path. NASA then finds out we have multiple unidentified objects coming in as they prepare to tell everyone this discovery. We're then taken to a stargazer that finds something important as he yells at his haggling wife to get his damn book. We are now taken to the city where the news is showing the shuttle accident on TV, as the little dog Reggie attacks mini Godzillas. Just as the dog's owner and shop owner get into an argument, they are rudely interrupted as a meteor decides to take out the shop owner. We now see nothing but devastation as multiple meteor fragments destroy New York City. We're now back to Dan Truman, the head of NASA, who is talking with Carl, the stargazer, as Carl reports his findings. He wants to name it after his wife Dottie, stating she is a life-sucking witch and there is no escape. What a happy marriage. NASA explains to the president that we're looking at a global killer, the end of mankind, as one of the employees rushes in and says, "We have 18 days left." Now we're switched back to Harry, who is one of our main characters of this movie, as he hits golf balls off an ocean oil rig at protesters on a boat. As Harry complains to AJ about not following orders, he finds his daughter Grace in AJ's bed. This prompts Harry to chase AJ around the oil rig, shooting at him with a shotgun as AJ tells him he loves her. This is interrupted by the investor's helicopter as Grace and Harry argue during their tour. We're now taken back to NASA making the decision of drilling and exploding the asteroid. Back to the rig where they find oil in a pretty destructive way, but they still celebrate the successful find. NASA comes to the rig in a helicopter shortly after to pick up Harry. NASA explains to Harry the situation about drilling the asteroid and detonating a nuke from the inside, and they need him. He's shown the team he needs to train, but he only agrees if he is the one that chooses the team. NASA now starts gathering all of Harry's crew, which consist of Bear, Max, Rockhound, Oscar, Chick, and AJ. The team is told about the mission and they all agree they're in, but only if NASA can meet some of their demands, like not paying taxes, ever. Now we see random scenes of the team as they go through testing, which doesn't go well for the guys. Every member failed, but NASA ends up approving anyway. We see Colonel Willie Sharp as the team arrives to the flight testing hangar. We are then introduced to pilots Davis, Tucker, Sharp, and Watts while Gruber and Halsey work the nuke. It's flight training time and this poor crew was nowhere near ready for the stunts these pilots pulled off. Now we're in mission briefing. They are to refuel at a station. Then they will use lunar gravity to slingshot behind the asteroid. There are two shuttles, Independence and Freedom. They need to dig 800 feet for the nuke to be effective before they reach zero barrier. AJ has just asked Grace to marry him. She says yes, of course. It's time to practice digging with the new rovers as we jump to the test site in Armadillo, Texas. During the test, even though everyone is asking AJ to slow the machine down, he doesn't and fails the simulation and gets scolded for it by Harry. Harry demands the guys have the night off to spend time with their family before the mission so they remember what they're fighting for. Now we get to watch the crew spend their free time and celebrate before the mission. Meanwhile, NASA is detecting a massive asteroid heading for East Asia, causing massive destruction. Now the whole world knows about the incoming asteroid. Back to launch day, Grace makes Harry promise that he's coming back and ask if he can please bring her fiancé back home. The new astronauts sing Leaving on a jet plane as they head out for launch. The president makes a beautiful statement on how 14 brave souls are traveling to the heavens to save mankind. Godspeed and good luck. It's time for the shuttles to launch as everyone is being strapped in by staff members. Go flight is called. Truman tells the guys, "God be with you," and then the shuttles are successfully launched. The shuttles make it to space and dock to the Russian space station. During the fueling session, a leak causes problems with the fuel pipes and pressure. Explosions and structure failures start happening everywhere as the crew rushes back to the ships. Everyone makes it back as AJ and the Russian astronaut Lev have to crawl through vents to escape back to the shuttle. They barely make it back to the door and get let in seconds before the shuttle takes off as they barely made it out. Now the shuttle's crew are preparing for an 11G flight for 10 minutes around the moon. We can tell that these oil diggers are nowhere near prepared for the 11Gs. Now they are face to face with the massive asteroid. Now it's time to attempt the landing procedures. Massive debris has damaged the Independence to the point of being a dead stick, as it crash lands on the asteroid. Now we're witnessing the Freedom reporting a landing overshot and ends up crash landing in a different area. Rockhound says, "What happened to the other shuttle?" and gets the reply, "It's off the grid. Let's ask God to take care of our friends," says Harry as they attempt to fix the shuttle. NASA assumes everyone is lost as Grace breaks down thinking she lost her family. We're taken back to the Independence wreckage to see AJ survive and find Oscar who didn't make it. AJ then runs into Lev and Bear who are the only survivors. Back to the Freedom where the team deploys to find mostly iron rock as they set up communications. The Freedom team has now initiated digging to find a problem at just 10 feet. Now we see AJ, Bear and Lev using the rover to escape the wreckage. Back to the Freedom who starts digging and ends up blowing the transmission. We're now taken back to AJ and his team trying to get to a beep on their radar. Back to the Freedom, Sharp demands to know their depth, which is supposed to be at 200 feet. They are at 57. He makes immediate contact with NASA to inform them they will fail. Harry and Sharp get into an argument as Sharp says, "You and your team are the biggest failures of NASA." The president has now called secondary protocol and takes over the NASA mission to remote detonate. Sharp is now seen grabbing a pistol in the secondary protocol directions as we head back to NASA where Truman tries to convince them not to. The detonate issue is ordered in 30 seconds. This causes the nuke to start a countdown on the shuttle as Truman has one of his guys kill the uplink. Meanwhile, Harry argues with Sharp, causing Sharp to pull out his pistol. The nuke link gets overridden, distracting Sharp, giving Harry the upper hand. Max and Rockhound then show up. The link is then put back up online as Harry tells Sharp he's never missed a depth as Sharp makes him swear on his daughter's life and Sharp's family. Harry says he will, so Sharp gets up and disarms the bomb before it goes off. Everyone's face expression shows how tense the situation is as Sharp disables it with 2.4 seconds left. NASA notices the clock stops at 3 seconds as they bounce a signal for communications. Harry then says, "Houston, you have a problem." He made a promise to come home and they have a hole to dig. The team has replaced the transmission and has started drilling again. While Rockhound enjoys his view, AJ and his team are still trying to make it to the landing point but run into a large cliff as they decide to fly over it. As the team is drilling, Rockhound decides to ride the nuke like a horse. Until Sharp asks to get off the nuclear warhead. We see Rockhound then losing his mind. It's time for AJ and his team to make the jump. During the jump, contact with a rock starts to send them through outer space. They try to get back but the frozen thrusters won't turn back on. Lev heads outside and fixes the thruster, allowing a very dramatic successful landing. They celebrate and then we go back to Harry's team drilling as Rockhound plays with a laser-guided minigun. After Harry tackles Rockhound, the drill ends up hitting a gas pocket that sends Max and the rover flying to outer space. All hope is gone now as the world gets the bad news and prepares for the worse. NASA decides to remote detonate as Grace wants them to say more than, "We hope so." Just when Harry thinks there is no hope, AJ and his team come rolling up on the cliff next to them as they start to celebrate. Now the team has recommenced drilling with 250 feet to go. We see that Rockhound has been tied to a chair like a loose Honda bumper. The drilling team is now at 770 feet when they hit a methane pocket. Everyone wants AJ to stop but he insists on pushing through and asks Harry to trust him. Harry tells him to make the call as he decides to push through. AJ ends up passing the 800-foot mark, and now they have 38 minutes to get the nuke down the hole. While withdrawing the pipes, they get a jam and send AJ down to cut it free. All of a sudden, a meteor shower happens on the asteroid as AJ finishes the cut. AJ is ejected from the hole from pressure but gets saved by Harry. We see Gruber then get hit with a meteor, sending him to the Lord. As they prep the nuke, they find out the remote trigger is dead and it has to be manually detonated. One of them needs to stay behind. The crew draws straws to see who stays, and AJ ends up with the short end. He's shown how to use the detonator as Harry says he will take AJ down. AJ asks Harry for a favor before Harry hands his patch to AJ for Truman to have, shoves AJ in the airlock and says AJ has to take care of his little girl now. In this tear-creating moment, Harry says he's proud for him to marry Grace as AJ breaks down crying, "I love you." The shuttle rushes to get prepared for launch as Harry says a very heartbreaking goodbye to Grace over a transmission. Lev has to fix a thruster problem on the shuttle by whacking a computer with a wrench. Now the shuttle launches and rushes off the asteroid as Sharp. Thanks Harry. Harry has flashbacks of life as he saves the world and detonates the nuke. The world celebrates when they see the explosion in space. The mission was successful and the world was saved. The team now lands as Chick gets reunited with his son and ex-wife. Sharp asks Grace for permission to shake the hand of the daughter of the bravest man he ever met. The movie ends as AJ hands Truman Harry's patch, saying he wanted him to have this. Please support me with that like button and subscribing if you enjoyed this video. It really helps me out and will give you all future video release updates. As always, thank you so much for watching, stay safe and God bless.